Most people think they have an attention problem. But the truth is much darker than that. Modern society was redesigned to destroy human focus intentionally, not always maliciously, but systematically, because attention became one of the most profitable resources in the world. And every major platform now competes aggressively to capture it, which means modern people are no longer living inside environments designed for peace or clarity. They're living inside systems designed to keep them stimulated constantly. That changes the brain over time, slowly, quietly, until eventually, people stop being able to sit still with their own thoughts. Think about how difficult silence feels for most people now. The second boredom appears. People instinctively reach for their phones, not because something important happened, but because the brain became uncomfortable without stimulation. And psychology explains exactly why. Human attention was never designed for endless novelty, but modern technology delivers novelty infinitely. New videos, new notifications, new headlines, new drama, new outrage, new dopamine, every few seconds. And the brain adapts to whatever environment it experiences repeatedly. That's one of the most important psychological truths people ignore. Repeated environments shape behavior automatically, which means modern digital environments are constantly reshaping human attention. That's why many people today struggle to read books for long periods, struggle to watch slow movies, struggle to sit quietly, struggle to think deeply without distraction. Their nervous systems became conditioned for constant stimulation, and constant stimulation weakens sustained focus naturally, because focus requires mental stillness. But modern platforms are engineered to interrupt stillness continuously. Every notification creates anticipation. Every short-form video creates rapid dopamine shifts. Every algorithm learns what emotionally hooks people fastest. And eventually, people stop controlling their own attention completely. Their attention becomes reactive instead of intentional. That psychological shift changes daily life more than most realize. People begin multitasking constantly, watching videos while eating, scrolling while talking, checking notifications during conversations. Even rest becomes stimulation. And over time, the brain loses the ability to remain fully present anywhere. You can see this everywhere now. People watch movies while checking phones simultaneously, listen to podcasts while scrolling social media, open apps automatically without even consciously deciding to. That's not normal human behavior historically. That's conditioned attention fragmentation. And fragmented attention creates fragmented thinking. Deep thinking requires uninterrupted focus. But uninterrupted focus became increasingly rare in modern life, which is dangerous psychologically, because shallow attention creates shallow emotional processing too. People consume enormous amounts of information now, without truly reflecting on any of it. Everything becomes immediate reaction, fast opinions, fast stimulation, fast emotional responses, but very little psychological stillness. That's why many people secretly feel mentally exhausted all the time, not because they lack discipline, but because their brains rarely experience true cognitive rest anymore. The human nervous system needs recovery, silence, stillness, boredom, reflection. But modern society treats boredom like a problem to eliminate. And that may be one of the biggest psychological mistakes happening right now, because boredom once created imagination, creativity, self-reflection, internal thinking. Now boredom gets replaced instantly with stimulation. And eventually, people lose connection with their internal world completely. Some people today can't sit alone with their thoughts for more than a few minutes without reaching for distraction. That's not weakness, that's conditioning. And younger generations are experiencing this earlier than ever before. Many people grew up inside high-speed digital environments from childhood, which means their brains developed around constant stimulation patterns, fast editing, infinite scrolling, instant entertainment, rapid emotional rewards. And when the brain adapts to constant speed, normal life starts feeling emotionally slow. That's why patience feels harder now. People expect instant replies, instant entertainment, instant results, instant emotional reward. And when reality moves slower than algorithms, people feel frustrated psychologically. But real life has always moved slowly. Real growth is slow. Real mastery is slow. Real relationships are slow. Human psychology itself requires slowness sometimes. But modern systems profit from speed, because faster stimulation creates more engagement, and more engagement creates more profit. That's why short-form content became so powerful. It compresses emotional stimulation into tiny dopamine bursts repeatedly. The brain loves novelty, but too much novelty weakens attention stability over time. And eventually people struggle to remain mentally engaged with anything less stimulating. That's why some people now find normal conversations difficult. Their attention expects constant emotional reward. And real conversations cannot compete with algorithmic stimulation designed by billion-dollar systems. That's the part many people underestimate. Modern technology is not neutral psychologically. It actively shapes human behavior, especially attention. And attention affects everything else: emotions, memory, learning, relationships, creativity, mental health. Because where attention goes, psychological energy follows. That's why people today often feel mentally scattered. Part of their mind is always somewhere else, waiting for notifications, checking updates, seeking stimulation, even during meaningful moments. And eventually, people stop experiencing life deeply. They experience it partially. Fragmented attention creates fragmented living. And maybe that explains why so many people today feel disconnected from themselves emotionally. Because self-awareness requires uninterrupted thought sometimes. But uninterrupted thought became increasingly rare. Silence became uncomfortable. Stillness became unfamiliar. Attention became monetized, and the human brain quietly adapted to all of it. Which means modern people are now fighting for something previous generations once experienced naturally. The ability to focus, the ability to be present, the ability to sit peacefully inside their own minds without needing constant stimulation. And maybe reclaiming attention is one of the most important psychological battles of modern life. Because people who cannot control their attention eventually struggle to control their lives too. And maybe real freedom today is much simpler than people think. The ability to disconnect, to think clearly, to sit quietly, to focus deeply, to exist without constant stimulation. Because in a world designed to distract everyone,